Welcome to episode 470 of the Recruitment Marketing and Sales Podcast. And I'm Denise Oyston. And today I'm continuing our mini-series on content creation. And today I'm going to talk about why it's important to think about the types of content that you are creating for clients and candidates. Yes, I know for many of you, it's all clients that you want, and you need to make sure that you are creating content for candidates as well. But also to think about your avatar, your business persona, and what will actually match what they want and the questions that they have going on in their head. Because it can be so easy. When it comes to content, one size does not fit all. You might be dealing with people of different generations. You might be dealing with Gen X rather than Gen Z. So think about everything involved in creating content with these guys and girls. And so that is the topic of today's podcast. So let's get into it. Welcome to the Recruitment Marketing and Sales Podcast. An obsessive focus on marketing and sales is the only way to accelerate your company growth. So listen in now as we share the latest strategies and techniques guaranteed to deliver you more placements and profits. Well, hi there everyone. This is Denise. Hope you and yours are well as we cycle through May. And today we're doing part 2 of this mini content series. We get a lot of questions about content, obviously, and do I need to do it? What should I be doing? So that's one of the reasons why we put this together. And I'm going to get into that in a second. But if you are new here, great to have you. You will find another 469 podcasts across our website that you can go and download and enjoy and hopefully get some value from as you move your marketing forward. And here's something to do. If you have not taken our new scorecard, our marketing scorecard, which is based around your candidate and client attraction score, then please do that. You will find it on our website at the end of every post. And also you will find it by going to superfastrecruitment.co.uk/scorecard, SCORECARD, all lowercase. It'll take you to a page. There are, I think it's either 15 or 16 very straightforward questions to answer. Average time it's taking people to fill it out is anywhere between 3 to 5 minutes. So I think you'll find that very useful, and you will get a personalized report. And of course, if you want to have a conversation about that, go and download the report and then just get in contact with Sharon and I. And we have decided that for people that download that report, we will give you a complimentary consultation, 45 minutes, book into our diary, and we can steer you in the right direction, because for different sectors, marketing can be different. So we can give you some more specific ideas on things that you can do. So let's talk then about understanding your audience and creating content that's going to resonate with them. So, in our first episode, we talked about challenges. There's so many challenges going on in the market at the moment. We've got skill shortage, higher turnover rates, got AI, we've got all of the things that are really impacting us. But today what I want to do is dive into what might be one of the most critical aspects of your content marketing success. And that means truly understanding your audience. As a recruiter, a search owner, a staffing owner, you are in a unique position, because obviously compared to other companies and organizations, you're serving two distinct audiences simultaneously. You've got employers who need talent, and you've got candidates that want job opportunities. Now, this can be a challenge, but it's precisely what makes recruitment and marketing and content creation both complex and powerful, because you're working with two distinct groups. And please note, please remember that just because you just need clients at the moment, you've not got a problem with candidates, please do not stop creating content or using content for candidates, because you need a balance across both areas, because as we all know in recruitment, things can flip-flop all the time. So it's really important that you have content for both of these. I mean, the thing to think about is, according to all the data that we've looked at, the Manpower survey, over 80% of companies across multiple sectors are now experiencing skill gaps this year, while over 20% of candidates, 20% of workers, if you like, are planning to quit their jobs. And when I say quit, that means potentially move to somewhere else. So we need to be aware of that. So on both sides of that equation, there's tremendous need, there's uncertainty, there's anxiety, there's opportunity. And for those of you that can provide valuable, genuine content, that is going to go a long way with getting you on the radar of the people that you want to be on. So let's talk about employer content. So when it comes to creating content for client companies, generic business content doesn't work. Recruitment is very personable. You're helping companies find the people that are obviously going to help them scale and grow. So your content needs to reflect that understanding of where candidates are, what it means to run a company, what it means to build a team. This is why you are recruitment consultants. This is why you can add so much advice. So that's really important. So when you're thinking about the client segments that you have, then it's important to consider the main vertical that you're working with, and obviously that depends on your individual sector, the company size. So this morning we had a one-to-one with one of our clients, and she was looking at the size of companies that she works with. She tends to work with much larger SMEs that are in fast-growing, let's just call them sub-niches, particular size. So she has got a lot of that data, and we were looking at different, obviously, geographical location. Some people listening to this will be UK recruiters, and you are recruiting within Europe now and outside of the UK. For some of our US listeners, again, you will be recruiting into Europe. So there's lots of different things that you need to consider, because obviously geographical location, your content might need to reflect that. And I just mentioned it, alluded to it before. It depends on the growth stage of the companies. You know, if you're working with startups or companies that are really scaling, then your content might need to reflect that. So we talked about, obviously, the types of companies, the client segments, but then it's important to understand the decision maker pain points, because people will buy any service if they've got an issue, if they've got a problem that they want to solve. Because in their map of the world, recruitment is expensive. It's not, relatively speaking, when you highlight all the benefits, but for them it is. So for many of your clients, you need to understand their pain points, and then obviously you can create content around that. They've got this thing, obviously for many people, they are pressurized to find talent quickly. I remember being in the pharmaceutical industry and being a manager there, and having this. If I had one of my reps left, then one of my sales team left, then I needed to make sure that I had got that person ready to attend a training course within 56 days. You can see that's etched on my mind, which is almost impossible. But there again, that was a pressure point I had. I just wanted to take a moment to connect with all of you amazing listeners. As you know, our podcast isn't sponsored, and we pour our hearts into bringing you quality content for every single episode. Now, if you've been enjoying the show, I'd love to connect with you on LinkedIn. You can find me at linkedin.com/Denise Oyston. That's Oyston. Just click that link. Let's connect. And also a quick reminder that sharing our podcast or giving us a shout out on social goes a long way to helping grow our community and getting the message out there to all of the small recruitment companies and staffing companies and search companies that want to do well. Your support does mean the world to us. and it helps us to continue doing what we love. So thanks for being part of the journey. Now let's get back to that show. There's a pressure to find qualified candidates. There's obviously budget constraints, there's ROI concerns, and predictability when it comes to when do we need somebody. We, again, using an example from the pharmaceutical industry, that we built sales teams and we didn't always know when the product was about to be launched, but we needed to build a sales team ready. So it's thinking about all of those different things that people will have as questions. Obviously, budget constraint. Then, we're talking about cultural fit. And then for many people, though they are using some AI tools, there's admin burden of recruiting. And how can you answer those questions in your content? Because the goal is to position your content as real premium value add and creating that halo effect that you are the person that can help them. That is the thing that is going to make a big difference. Now, obviously, there's multiple ways to research about your clients. My favorite tool at the moment, apart from obviously Google and Arc and things like that, is Perplexity Pro. I was talking about that this morning. I really love that. It does some really deep research. Yes, you do need to go and have a look at what it's come up with, but that is really, really useful. Obviously, you've got industry trends analysis that you can get. You can talk to your clients and surveys. So you've got so many. In fact, it's easier now to do client and candidate research than ever before. So we talked about client content. Now let's have a think about candidate content and your candidate personas that you're developing, because you need to think about the content that you create at every stage of the journey, because candidates can be very different. People could be in that area where they're brand new into the market. They're very, very at an early stage of their career, developing their career. You could be thinking about skill level and specialization. I think the trendy term at the moment is the rise of new collar workers. These are people without necessarily having a degree, but they've got specialized technical skills. Then, of course, there's the classic active versus passive candidates. Again, according to a lot of the research that we've done, I think it's around about, let me just read this figure here, 76% of UK professionals report they'll be looking for a new job in 2025, which is huge, but only 48% are confident about the opportunities in the sector. So think about how you can create content that speaks to the active candidate and obviously passive candidate as well. And of course, your industry background, there are different nuances in different industries. That's important to make sure that you include that in your content. And obviously for candidates, why candidates move can be quite different. So you really do need to understand their motivations and speak into their motivations as well. I tell you, if you start to get this right, you will never have a problem finding candidates for the roles that you have. Think about their career growth, the skill development, the work-life balance, well-being, the cultural alignment, and then of course there's job security. There's lots of layoffs still going on at the moment and redundancies. So think about how you can handle that when it comes to working with your candidates. Again, if you're doing a deep research dive, then obviously sometimes it's much easier to talk to candidates, to do surveys, interview them. You can look at journey mapping from a candidate perspective, industry reports, all of those things. And again, I use Perplexity. I use the Pro version. That's really good at being able to give you all of the data and all of the things that you need that can then help you think about, so what is the content that I need to create? Now, then as you think about content, and this is something that I do all the time because obviously we write content for our Superfast Circle clients, you need to think about the employer journey and you need to think about the candidate journey. And obviously for all of us, you've heard me talk about the buyer cycle. You're probably fed up of me talking about the buyer cycle, but think about people going through awareness, consideration, decision, and retention, and thinking about what can you do in these different areas. What can you build in when it comes to content? It might be that you have a salary health trends that you've got. You might have, the consideration stage, how we helped X do Y type of report. So you've got all of these different ideas on content that you can create. And of course, when it comes to content, then you can create content that serves both audiences. The most logical things are workplace trends reports, industry salary guides, skills development resources, culture building content, productivity. All of the soft skills areas will always go down well when it comes to content. And of course, you can use those for both candidates and for clients. So hopefully I've given you lots of ideas, and the devil really is in the detail. Obviously, there's I've summarized the transcription here, so you'll be able to go and have a look at some of the things that I've suggested. So just finalizing today, then we've explored the importance of understanding both your markets, employers and candidates, and that obviously creates a foundation for your content that you can use. Detailed personas are important that go beyond the basic demographics, because then you can really get into what is motivating somebody that wants to do ABC, that is at this stage of the career. These are all important things that many people actually forget, and they just sort of how to write the perfect CV. It is different, and there's different things that you can do. So in preparation for next week, bit of work for you, look at drafting your ideal employer persona, avatar, do the same for candidates. And then in our next episode, we're going to talk about different type of content to consider, how you could build that in, how you could plan your content out. So hope that's been useful. Remember, I've covered a lot in the last 2 podcast episodes. It might be good to sit down when you've got all of them together as well and really look at your content strategy that's going to then take you forward for the rest of this year. So this is Denise saying bye for now, and I'll see you next time. If you enjoy this podcast and this year you are ready to take your marketing to the next level, then check out Superfast Circle. This is a unique marketing program designed specifically for recruiters and their marketeers. You get access to 2 virtual marketing directors, you get consultancy, you get your hand held through the whole process, training, consulting, and we provide content resources. So go over to superfastrecruitment.co.uk/join and check out what's available.